Good morning, bonjour, Annie. Welcome to the launch of the Investor Ready program. My name is Kimberly Wahama Deshane, Operations and Events Manager at Northern Ontario Angels. We'll begin this Investor Ready program by acknowledging that we are meeting virtually on Indigenous lands that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples. We acknowledge all of the treaties and traditional territories of which all of you are in attendance today. If you've not already done so, please mute your audio and video channels. And following the presentations, you can unmute and ask questions in the chat. We are recording this event and we'll provide you with a link along with a post-event survey. For those of you who complete the survey, you will have a chance to win a 1-hour consultation with our presenter, KarenJones. The Investor Ready program is a partnership between Northern Ontario Angels, Business Centre, IION, and the City of North Bay Economic Development Division. This program is a comprehensive entrepreneurial training program designed to equip you with the skills, knowledge, and tools required to create compelling business propositions and attract potential investors. Now, I'll pass over the screen to Jennifer, who will introduce our keynote speaker.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Jennifer Nickerson. I'm the manager of the Business Center Nipissing Parry Sound, and I have the pleasure of introducing our keynote speaker today. KarenJones Gibbons, CEO of KarenJones Consulting Incorporated, operates a boutique consulting firm that provides business and economic development services to small businesses, not-for-profit organizations, and municipalities across Northern Ontario. Karen specializes in business and strategic planning, funding application development, and marketing communication strategies. Karen is passionate about entrepreneurship and helping businesses and organizations foster new ways of thinking to achieve their full potential and maximize their growth opportunities. With 2 decades of experience running her own business and coaching businesses of all sizes and sectors, Karen is committed to developing individual strategies to help her clients excel. Please welcome KarenJones. Take it away, Karen.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, great. Well, welcome everyone. So I just want to start off by saying that you don't have to feel overwhelmed when you're running your business. You don't have to feel scattered. You don't have to feel like you lack clarity and you lack focus. There is another way. So today we're going to talk about 5 steps to strategic planning. And I'm going to take you through a process that I've developed to help you get your business to that next level. I'm going to teach you how you can move away from feeling unclear and overwhelmed and help you look at ways to move your business in an effortless way. My goal here is to kind of guide you through the steps and show you that the possibility does exist within each of your own businesses or not-for-profit organizations to help you with the development and the implementation of a strategic plan. A strategic plan has transformed the way many of my clients have operated their business, their not-for-profit organization, or even their community. I don't have a magic wand. I'm not a miracle worker. I can't just overnight create this magic for the clients within their strategies. But what I can do and what I have been able to help my clients with is to get intentional about what their long-term growth plans look like and start reaching within to figure out what their priorities, their goals, and their actions look like so that they can grow their organization or their business on their own in a way that's sustainable and sets them up for success. So let's get focused. If we can just start, please, by turning off any distractions. I know many of you are entrepreneurs. You're likely multitasking. You're probably doing 100 different things right now. But my goal for you is to come out of the session over the next 45 minutes to an hour and walk away like you've learned something new and that your time was well spent. So if you can close out your screens, you can put your phones on Do Not Disturb, and really just dial in on your business and start thinking about yourself, your business, and how you want to show up for it. If you give me that undivided attention, then I promise to make it worth your while and really help you feel like you've been able to take something out of today and implement it into your business so that you can get to that next level on your own. After the webinar, feel free to share on Facebook or Instagram a picture of you working on your strategic plan, mapping out your business goals or your priorities. Tag us in it and we'll absolutely reshare it and start spreading the word about your new journey for growth. So, are you in the right place? And I want you to start really thinking about why you're here. Why did you show up today? Why was this a webinar that you decided that you wanted to attend? I'm not exactly sure why you're here, but I'm certain I can make an educated guess. I would imagine that many of you, if you're like me, you're running a business or an organization that has you going in 100 different directions. You're struggling with implementing all of your ideas. You're not sure if you should go left or you should go right. And you're really curious if a strategic plan could help you kind of move the dial along and help you move forward with your business. Or maybe you're feeling motivated. Maybe you want to grow and you want to amplify your business and you're really inspired. You've taken some great training lately. You've been having some great wins in your business and you're really excited about what the next steps look like and how you can move forward in your growth. Or perhaps you're feeling a little overwhelmed, you're a little intimidated, you're not really sure what you need to do, you're just kind of going through the motions, but you're determined to make it work. You've committed to your business, you've committed to running your not-for-profit organization, whatever hat you're wearing today, and perhaps you're feeling like you really got to figure this out and you just need a place to start. So that's all about just really finding ways to streamline your business growth. So which one are you? Are you curious? Are you motivated? Are you overwhelmed? Are you lacking clarity? Throw it in the chat so other people can see. Unfortunately, I can't see the chat today, but I'm sure if you check one of the boxes, pick what feeling what emotion you're feeling today and throw it in there. I'm sure that others that are attending the webinar today can relate and can probably feeling and showing up in a similar way as you are. So whatever your motivation is, I just want you to know that I fully support you and I'm very glad that you're here. I'm glad that you've taken the time out. We're all busy. I understand that taking an hour out of your day isn't always easy when you're juggling a lot of home, work, life balance priorities. But I am very happy that you decided to show up today because I do believe that building out a strategic plan and understanding how to look within and how to get intentional in your business can really set you up for success as you move forward. So a little bit about myself, just so that you know who you're talking to today. I run KarenJones Consulting with my husband, Frank. He actually was working in a full-time job for the first 5 years of my business and decided after losing his father quite suddenly due to cancer that he needed to reflect and do something a little different with his life. So he decided to quit his full-time job and join our company full-time. And since that time, we've been running it together. He's behind the scenes and looks after more of the operations, the finances, the contracts, what I call all the boring stuff. And I work on front facing and work with the clients and work with our stakeholders and our partners. And I'm really more of the face behind the company. Of course, the company started with my vision, my passion for entrepreneurship, but he's been certainly a big supporter and player in it and a great partner for the company. We also are big animal lovers, as you can see, my collection of pets. I didn't want to change this photo out, but unfortunately we did lose our little girl, our little Lizzie cat on the weekend. So we only actually have 3. So the 3 animals in the background of this picture are still mourning the loss of our little cat. So definitely a big animal lover and very passionate about business and entrepreneurship. And then our son Connor, and we have 2 adult-aged daughters that are Frank's from a previous marriage. And Connor's our light and fire in our house, and he's certainly learning about business and entrepreneurship as we grow through this company together. So my professional background is 20 years or so of coaching small businesses, not-for-profit organizations, municipalities, economic development groups and organizations across Northern Ontario. So I'm located here in North Bay. I've been running KarenJones Consulting for the last 14 years, and we've consulted, coached, and worked with over 350 clients on different projects, and that continues to obviously grow. The one big focus that we work on and that we do is strategic and business planning for entrepreneurs, businesses, and not-for-profits. So KarenJones Consulting focuses on strategy and business development. Entrepreneurship is definitely in our passion, and we can relate and understand, like many of you, running a business is not easy. We understand that there's lots of challenges. You might think that you're, going to wake up in the day and work on A, B, and C, and you end up in many different directions. So obviously, as a small business owner myself, I'm here to say that I can relate to you. I can understand that running a company can be certainly a challenge, and looking for ways to grow and to implement new strategies has always been a very helpful tactic for me. I've always been a life learner, and I really hope that that as you grow your business, you look at different ways that you can strategize and you can learn new things and new experiences to help grow and shape you into a stronger entrepreneur and business owner. I have a small consulting team. I've learned that bigger isn't always better. I always like to find clients that align with my values and my beliefs. And I really believe that working remote and flexible hours and flexible work-life balance is a key to feeling creative and inspired in my business. So I have a brick and mortar company here in North Bay, but you can often find me working in a coffee shop or by the pool or the lake or even on my couch in my PJs. I'm a believer that flexibility is key, and I've always promoted that in the company with my staff, because when you're feeling flexible and you feel like you're not working in a box all the time, you can be creative and you can be inspired and you can really push yourself outside of your comfort zone. So start thinking about your company and the flexibility, the why you started it. What was the reason that drove you to start your business or take on that role as a senior manager in a not-for-profit organization? What is your why? What's serving you? And start thinking about that as you sort of change your mindset into a strategic plan. Often people hear strategic plan or business plan and they get all heebie-jeebie. They don't like the sounds of it. It sounds like a lot of work. It sounds like it's something that they don't have time for, or they're so busy in their business day to day and they don't take the time to really think about it. But it's not anything overwhelming. It's not an intimidating task. A lot of businesses and clients that we've worked with will have us do a business plan or a strategic plan to access funding so that they can get the dollars that they need from the funding partner or from the bank, but they don't always do it for themselves. And that's why I wanted to talk today about 5 steps to strategic planning, not business planning, because often business plans are absolutely required. They're a great asset. They kind of chart out your annual growth, but people lose sight of the strategic plan and the power that it can have, because a strategic plan can be your single most powerful way to make an impact on your business growth while you're implementing your vision. So a strategic plan is more about thinking forward. It's about thinking over the next 3 years, the next 5 years. It's about thinking about what your priorities are and how they align with your business plan. So your business plan might be something that you need for your funding partners, or perhaps you need it to kind of map out and guide your growth on an annual basis. But a strategic plan is more visionary and it's more high level, and it really helps shape the direction that you're going in your organization or in your business. So can you actually think about it for a moment? Can you imagine what would it feel like if you knew exactly where your business was heading and you actually implemented the actions that you've set out with ease? How would that make you feel? And maybe some of you are sitting here thinking that you're already doing that, and that's great. We all aspire to be able to get there. But there's a lot of businesses, there's a lot of clients that I work with that have come to me and they're feeling overwhelmed and they're feeling scattered and they don't know where they're going, what they're doing. They have all these ideas that are jumbling in their minds and they don't know how to implement them. And that's where the power of a strategic plan can come to be. And that's why we believe that kind of identifying what your growth looks like and really thinking about it from within first can set you up for success. So by the end of the session, and I know we don't have a lot of time together, I will kind of do a high level look at what our 5-step process is so that you can develop your own strategic plan. And this 5-step process really has been developed over the 20 years that I've been working with clients of all sizes, shapes, different sectors, and different geographic locations. I've worked with so many different organizations that they all have the same fundamental problems. They all have the same challenges. They're all struggling with their growth, and they're really trying to figure out how to move forward. So I can't wait to teach you how to do it on your own, because for me, that's where the power can come in. When you can take these tools and you can implement it on your own and start guiding and charting your own future, you'll feel that much more powerful. So let's start off by talking about what a strategic plan is. I like to define it as a roadmap to guide your business growth. And a business plan can certainly be described like this too, but the difference is between a business plan and a strategic plan is that the strategic plan allows you to reflect on your organizational culture, your customers' needs, and it really helps you define your priority areas, your goals, and your actions over a period of time. So many clients will choose to do a 3-year strategic plan because lots can happen even in a 3-year period of time. Some do a 5-year strategic plan. It really just depends on your organization, your business, and what you want to do from a visionary perspective and how long you think it'll take you to get there. But the beauty of a strategic plan that you develop is that you can tweak it as you go. So what you decide today might not be where you land tomorrow, and that's okay. It should be a living document that you can continuously update, that you can use as your roadmap, and it can help guide your direction. I always say that you would never get into a car and start driving randomly to try to get to a specific destination if you didn't have a map or you didn't think about what your route was going to look like. And the same goes for your business or your organization. If you don't know what the direction looks like and how you're going to go from point A to point B, you're likely going to get lost along the way. It's going to take a lot more time to get there. It's going to take a lot more energy. It's going to take a lot more resources, and it's going to result in a lot more frustration. So by really charting that course out early and really thinking about what that roadmap looks like will help you get to your destination a lot more effortlessly. So let's talk a little bit now about why a plan is important. I've already kind of touched on this about the roadmap, but I really think that in order for you to be in a growth mindset within your company, you have to have clear and concise idea about what you're aiming for. You have to know what success looks like, because if you don't, you're never going to know if you reached it. So many entrepreneurs, we find ourselves in the day-to-day grind of our business. We get up every day and we jump into our to-do lists, our tasks for the day. We've got clients, we've got employees, we've got could be funding partners, we've got stakeholders. Everybody's at us for something. Everybody needs a piece of us, and we're just doing our best to try to move the dial forward. But if you don't have a clear set focus on what you're going to accomplish in that day, in that week, in that month, you'll have no idea what you're aiming for. And that's where the power of that strategy can come in. It allows you to kind of direct and plan, okay, if I do, here's my, and I'm going to get into this a little bit later, but here's my high level look and vision, and here's what my goals look like. So I know I'm successful if I hit these goals, and here's how I'm going to hit these goals. And here's how I'm going to measure the success of these goals, so that you know exactly what you're aiming for. And without that, you're lost. And that's where a lot of my clients and businesses all over have found themselves lost. I touched on this at the beginning. Strategic plans can be something that might make you feel icky inside or have those heebie-jeebies because you don't really understand what it's all about. It seems comprehensive. It seems like a lot of work. It seems like a lot of documentation, and it might scare you off from doing it because you're busy running your business. And I totally get that. And these are just some examples of some high-level strategic plans. These strategic plans are comprehensive. These are plans that have been taken, 3-6+ months to develop. But your plan doesn't have to have this kind of intensity to it. You can still get results in your company with a 1-page strategic plan or a couple of pages. You don't need to have the level of detail that some organizations do need, because that's the nature, the scope of their business or their organization. But for the purposes of our conversations today, we're looking at developing strategic plans that are effective, that are simple, and that can get you results. And that's what I want you to take away from today's session. It's developing a strategic plan that makes sense for you, exactly where you're at in your company, and that's all that matters. How fancy it is doesn't matter. How much time and effort you put into the consultation and the research, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're going with your intentions and your gut, and you're developing a plan that makes sense to move your business from point A to point B based on where you want to get it. So let's talk about a five-step process. And this is a proven five-step process because I've tested this process out on clients of all sectors, of all shapes, of all sizes, from private sector companies to not-for-profit organizations, and even to municipalities with their economic development strategies and municipal strategic plans, and it works. So I want to start off by talking about organizational culture and understanding what this means, because this is going to be the foundation of your plan, and this should be the foundation of your business. So it might not be something you've given a lot of thought to in the past. Perhaps it's something that you know about, it's there, but you don't really think about it because it's more it's not something that we necessarily talk about as much as we talk about our marketing strategy or our financial projections or our target audience. And in my opinion, it really forms the foundation and the basis of your business. So culture is the character and the personality of your business. I was once in a coaching session and got some profound advice, and that advice was that your business is an idea, it's a thing, it's what you've created, but it doesn't have a voice. Your business's voice is you. So it's up to you to make the decisions, to speak on behalf of your business, and to do the things that your business needs to thrive. It's not a personal thing. It's about doing what's right for your business and being that strong advocate and that voice to set your business up for success. So think about that. Think about what that culture looks like to your business. What makes you unique? What are your values? What are your beliefs? What are the behaviors and the attitudes that make up your business? Why did you start your company? What does it stand for? What is its purpose? What's its mission, its vision, its values? These are all the things that make up a culture. And there are a lot of the things that are overlooked because they don't have numbers attached to them, or they're not about targets and strategy. But it's certainly a very important part of business and not-for-profit organizations. In fact, any workplace culture is important. So I like to describe culture as an iceberg. You can't necessarily see it. You might see the tip of it. You might get remnants of it, but it's always growing in places beneath the surface. So your customers might have a way that they describe your culture. Your team members might have a way that they describe your culture. You might have a way that you describe your culture. You need to really think about what that looks like and what those assumptions and those beliefs are. Whenever I think about and put this slide up, I think about an iceberg. I don't know what comes to your minds other than the word culture, but the Titanic always comes to my mind when I see an iceberg. And a couple of years ago, we took our son Connor to Vegas, and most people think, why would you take your kid to Vegas? What is there to do? There was a lot of things to do. Obviously, we went to some hockey games and we did some other great activities for him, but we stumbled across the Titanic exhibit at the Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas. And we went in, and our son was 7 at the time, and he really knew nothing about the Titanic. He had no idea what it was. So we ventured in there, and the way the exhibit's set up is they allow you to take a little ticket, and you're either a survivor or you're someone that didn't survive on the Titanic, and you're a passenger, and you get to go through the whole exhibit with their story. So they give you your age, they give you your gender, they give you what kind of family, what status you had, where on the ship you got to stay based on social status, and you get to embody the passengers of that. And my son absolutely took on the entire feelings, the thoughts, the perceptions of it to a level that I didn't actually expect when we went in. He's now extremely obsessed about the Titanic and has actually YouTubed and researched all of the different conspiracy theories and all of the things that he thinks happened or didn't happen with the sinking of the ship. But what it did was not only allowed him to go in and kind of embody that culture and experience it, but it allowed him to start thinking about that iceberg and thinking about how big it is beneath the surface and start visualizing that and thinking about where the ship might have hit it, at what point was the friction, where was it, how did it happen below the surface. And if you translate that thinking and that into your business and you think about where culture is growing in your company, there might be things in there that you're struggling with team members. There might be things that you're struggling with customers. There might be your own inner challenges and thoughts that you're thinking about. But that culture is so deep and so rich that it's up to you to start really thinking about what it all looks like so that you can build more up at the surface that resonates with your customers and that resonates with your employees and resonates with your overall business values and systems and drives your mission and your vision forward. One of the things that I often work with clients are values. And many times organizations and businesses will have a mission statement and a vision statement, and they're proud of themselves, they're happy with it, but they haven't really given thought to their core values. And I always ask them, what is driving their decisions? As an organization, whether they're a partnership or they have a board of directors they have to report to, whatever type of entity that they are, how are they making these decisions? How are these decisions, these translating into actions? And how do they relate to the values? So what are those beliefs? Why do they do what they do? And without those core value statements, it's very hard to understand your full culture and be able to realize your mission and your vision. So take a moment, reflect on those values that you have as a company, research some different value statements, some words that maybe resonate, and apply that in your day-to-day. So find ways that you can actually be walking and living proof that the culture is resonating deep within. Show that with your team members, show that with your customers, with your funding partners, with your stakeholders, and whoever else that you might be interacting with. The second step in the process is to define your target audience and really asking yourself if you know who your audience is. If you're just starting your business out, perhaps you have this really well documented and researched, you've done your data, you know what your target market section of your business plan looks like, you feel like you've got it really covered. But I challenge you, do you really know who your audience is? Do you understand what drives them, why they make the decision to interact with your business, what they need, how they want you to show up for them? Do you really understand who your audience is at a deeper level? If you've been running your company for many years, you might want to start thinking about your original customer versus your current customer because they might not be the same. You might have started your company with the idea that you were going to service a certain clientele, a certain demographic, but now you might be in a position where you're servicing different customers, ones that you didn't expect would gravitate to your business or to your offerings. And that's okay. You just have to be aware of it so that you can align your culture and the way you offer and you show up and your actions and your values and your beliefs with your current customer in mind. And being mindful of that, being intentional about that is a huge piece of your strategy. Showing up and just doing the same thing every single day, day in and day out, isn't a good enough strategy for business. If you want a competitive advantage and you want to be able to kind of grow and get to that next level, you have to understand who they are, what they want, what they like, what drives them. I had to really think about this hard too within my own business. As I mentioned, I do a lot of consulting work. So I started my company doing strategies and business plans and funding applications and all the things for a variety of different clients. But my true passion is doing this. It's teaching other entrepreneurs, it's coaching, it's mentoring, it's really helping other people get unstuck. And over the years, I started to slowly dive into this program that you might have seen at the bottom of the screen there, Venture. And that's a do-it-yourself training program that has been a big part of my heart and soul. And teaching entrepreneurs and showing other people how to do what they do has been a big, fire within me. I'm a big believer that, if you give a hungry person a fish, you can feed that person for a day. But if you teach them how to fish, you can feed them for a lifetime. And that's what drives my purpose. But the conflict that I have when it comes to audience is that my consulting clients are very different than those that might be attracted to the venture program. The entrepreneurs that need the coaching and the mentorship and the one-on-one, or need the do-it-yourself tools so that they can learn and go off and do it themselves, is a completely different audience than the clients that I have been working with inside and out for the last 14 plus years. Those clients are larger not-for-profit organizations, municipalities, private sector companies that are just saying, here, this is what I need you to do, go away, do it, give me my plan and solve my problems. The venture training program is an audience that's totally different. It's more micro, it's more entrepreneurial, it's more about fostering that strength within each and every client that I consult or coach. And it's not easy to just switch. It doesn't matter what size of company you have or organization. When you're looking at your audience, you have to show up for them in a different way depending on what service you're offering. So you might be in a similar situation to me where you've got multiple service offerings and maybe they attract different audience groups. Well, how are you showing up for those audience groups, and how do they change? How is what they want, what they like, who they are different? And what are you doing to evolve with the trends and to keep making changes as you need to? Another example, I do a lot of work in the tourism sector. And obviously since the pandemic, the travelers' needs, the tourism sector has changed. It was thrown on its head during the pandemic, and it's taken a long time to rebound and recover. But many of these operators within the tourism sector had to learn how to attract a new audience. Many of the businesses that we worked with were very focused on an American audience. Well, when the border shut down, they could no longer open their businesses up to the Americans because they weren't allowed to cross the border. And now they had 0 customers. All of their bookings were gone. And they had to quickly pivot and change and deviate and start thinking about a new audience and maybe they had a small, 10%, 20% of a domestic traveler that were using their services. Well, now they needed to rely on that audience 100% of the time. And that was for an indefinite amount of time. So they had to quickly think about who they are, what they want, what can they do? And they started looking at how they could develop new products, new services, new initiatives that would encourage a domestic traveler, someone living in their own backyard, living in their same province or the same country, to come and experience something that they'd never thought about experiencing before. So it's a real change and it's a real transition. But as a business, we have to be nimble, we have to be flexible. And that's why I go back to how I started this session, where I talked about how I'm all about working in a flexible work environment. My business allows for that. But if I'm not thinking about being flexible and being able to be nimble and change quickly, then it's hard to help my clients understand the importance and the significance of that. And as a business owner, you have to be able to be ever changing and very flexible. Oops, wrong way. Okay, so number 3, how are we for time? Okay. I believe we're going to be wrapping up around 10:45, and then I'll open it up for some questions and answers. So I'll move forward here. Step number 3 is conducting an analysis. And you might have heard of something called a SWOT analysis before. 4 quadrants, the S, the W, the O, and the T. So I'm going to take a couple minutes here just to dive in a little bit, because I think this is a very critical part of your strategic plan.
Yeah, tell me where to go.
Oh, just mute your computer there. Thank you. The 4 quadrants, as I mentioned, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So within each of these quadrants, it's important to start reflecting on how this impacts your own business or your organization. So the strengths and the weaknesses are areas that you can control and that you're able to build upon and change. Their strengths are really core to your brand. They're what make you unique and how you stand out against your competition. It's what drives you. It's where all of your value and your purpose come from. Your weaknesses are things that obviously that perhaps, you know, they don't come naturally to you. They're not things that your business does particularly well. Or you could be looking at this from an individual perspective. You could be looking at your own strengths as a person, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, or a founder. So you could be looking at your strengths and your weaknesses as it relates to that. But your weaknesses are things that could translate into opportunities if you're able to influence the direction that you're going. So strengths and weaknesses are internal. You have control over these things. You can change them. You can make your weaknesses strengths. You can do more training. You can do more research. You can delegate areas that maybe you're not so great at in your business to other people, which would then translate it into a strength. Or perhaps it's a new opportunity, like a new partnership or a new idea. So your strengths and weaknesses are ever changing. And it's important that as an entrepreneur that you're mindful of what these are, because if you don't look within, it's really hard to be able to project and to grow outward. And then the external factors are things that you're not necessarily able to control, but they certainly will impact your growth and your ability to be sustainable. So I usually like to, when I'm doing a SWOT analysis, look at the weaknesses and look at areas for improvement. Look at things that could be done that could be translated into opportunities. I also like to look at the strengths and say, okay, we're doing this really, really well. So why don't we start looking at how we can expand these areas and make them opportunities? Maybe there's new partnerships, maybe there's new product opportunities, maybe there's new strategies that can be developed in the opportunity section to help feed from your internal, your strengths and your weaknesses. There might also be opportunities and trends in the marketplace that you can't control, but they're happening and you have to respond to them. So look within your sector, look within the area, the geographic area that you operate your business in. Look at from a provincial or from a national perspective, what's happening around you in the ecosystem that you could translate into opportunities into your business. And then your threats are usually out of your control. But again, like I mentioned before, you have to be able to adapt, you have to be flexible, and you have to be able to pivot. The pandemic is a great example of this and certainly a threat. Other threats are things like new competition. You can't control a new business starting up or an existing business taking on your service offerings and competing with you. Those are things outside of your control, but you have to be aware of them in order to be able to grow. And that's really important. It's also really important that you start kind of thinking about not trying to be everything to everyone. And what I mean by that is pleasing and trying to be in 100 different places at once not only clouds your priorities, but it certainly sets you up for failure. So being really mindful of what you're able to do and putting it in the right quadrant so that you're aware is really, really helpful for your growth. Step number 4 is about identifying your priorities. And I'd like to take a moment as I set the stage for this one about trying to be everything to everyone, trying to do it all, not really being clear and intentional about what you stand for, who you're serving as an audience or as a customer, how you fit in when it comes to your internal or external strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, internal and external factors, and then really thinking about what your priorities are and where you're going. So not pleasing everyone, that's hard. Entrepreneurs struggle with this. I struggle with this. Everybody, I think that any business that I've consulted, coached with over the years has struggled with this. As a business owner, you want to say yes to everything. You want to be able to take it all on. You don't want to say no, but you have to get very crystal clear on what you're doing and why you're doing it so that you can say, yes, this aligns with my values and it aligns with the direction of my company, or no, actually, it's going to take me down the wrong path and away from my values. Yes, it might be a financial benefit to say yes, and that's usually one of the reasons a lot of my clients will want to push into that area because they don't want to say no. But sometimes by saying no and not trying to please everybody can actually set you up for longer success in the future and a more sustainable business to operate in. So let me read you this story. And many of you might have heard it before. It's a fable called The Man, the Boy, and the Donkey. A man and his son were once going with their donkey to market. As they were walking along by its side, a country man passed them and said, "You fools, what is a donkey for but to ride upon?" So the man put the boy on the donkey, and they went on their way. But soon they passed a group of men, of whom said, "See that lazy youngster? He lets his father walk while he rides." So the man ordered his boy to get off and got on himself. But they hadn't gone far when they passed two women, one of whom said to the other, "Shame on that lazy old lout to let his poor little son trudge along." Well, the man didn't know what to do. But at last he took his boy up behind him on the donkey. By this time they had come to the town, and the passers-by began to jeer and point at them. The man stopped and asked what they were scoffing at. The men said, "Aren't you ashamed of yourself for overloading that poor donkey of yours and hulking your son? Aren't you ashamed of overloading that poor donkey of yours?" The man and boy got off and tried to think of what to do. They thought and they thought, till at last they cut down a pole, tied the donkey's feet to it, raised the pole and the donkey to their shoulders, and they began carrying the donkey. They went along amid the laughter of all who met them till they came to a market bridge, when the donkey, getting one of his feet loose, kicked out and caused the boy to drop the end of the pole. In the struggle, the donkey fell over the bridge, and his 4 feet being tied together, sadly drowned. "This will teach you," said an old man who had been following them. "Please all, and you will please none." So the moral of this story is, if you try to please everyone, you can kiss your ass goodbye. And that to me sums up how we run businesses. We are so busy trying to please everyone and not hurt people's feelings and not make the wrong mistakes and say yes to this person and say, try to do it all and just keep taking it all on and trying to listen to 100 different different perspectives.
Mhm.
What ends up happening is we lose sight of our priorities, we forget what we're doing and why we're doing it, and we end up unhappy and unsatisfied and not getting the results we want.
Yeah.
So think about that story. The next time you're feeling a little overwhelmed, you're feeling like you don't know what direction you're going, and you feel like everybody wants a little piece of you and you don't have anything left to give. That, unfortunately, is the joy of entrepreneurship. So let's talk how you can fix that problem. Priority setting. It's all about really being crystal clear on your SWOT, understanding your audience and your culture so that you can develop the right priorities to get you to where you want to get to and where you want to go. I've put a few examples together here for you. So this is going to change from business to organization, from sector to sector, but some generic priority areas that might help you get thinking about what it could look like could be marketing and sales, human resources, financial growth, product expansion. I usually recommend that you have between 3 to 5 priorities and then you don't try to focus on more than that. Because when you start having too many things to think about, you end up serving none of them and you end up feeling like you're unclear and not focused. Once you've identified what your priorities look like, you then need to map out your actions. And you need to start thinking about how it all comes together. So you want to achieve the goals that you've identified within each of your priority areas, and you want to develop actions and timelines and KPIs to help you accomplish that. So in order to do that, you can visualize it sort of something like this. So imagine each of the priority areas or buckets are where all of your the things that you want to do, whether it be marketing and sales or attracting new audiences, whatever those priorities are, financial management or financial strength, And then think about 3 goals within each of those priorities that you want to accomplish over the next 3 years, let's say, and then identify what the actions are to help you develop and deliver on those goals and what your measurements of success look like. So how do you know that you achieve success? What does it look like? Maybe it's a certain sales volume, maybe it's a certain number of new customers, maybe it's attending, a certain number of new conferences or trade shows. However it relates to your priority is how you're going to be able to measure the success of it. So when you start thinking about how all that works, you start to really hone in on the power of prioritization. And I'm really hoping that based on what we just talked about and really understanding why it's important to set that foundation and how you can kind of put all the pieces together, that you start feeling a little less scrambled and you stop trying to do it all and you stop trying to please everyone and you stop trying to say yes to everything and you hone in on your priority areas, because you have to really understand what those priorities are, because without a lack of understanding, you're going to end up spinning your wheels and you're not going to see the results that you want. And it's frustrating. So let me ask you, how could a well thought out 3-year strategic plan help shape the direction of your business? How much more clarity and focus could you have if you took a few moments every day and started slowly working towards building out what those priorities look like and really helped kind of shape the direction that you want to go? If you stopped spending your time doing mundane tasks and you started carving out some time to move your actions forward. I really believe that entrepreneurs have to find the way to work on their business and not in the business a percentage of the time. And maybe you just have a small goal and you start off with 10% of your work week is going to be working on your business, and you can slowly build that up. But if you don't start working on it, your business is going to drive you, and your business is going to be the one that's calling the shots as opposed to you shaping the direction. And that's the power of a strategic plan.
Yeah, so for yeah, absolutely. So for US1, the study
And sorry, can you just pause your computer?
yesterday regarding requesting the protocol and IB tracked changes to submit as one for the Spanish to submit this the Spanish facing document in one change.
Jen, can you just mute everybody, or I don't know if you have the power to do that.
I can't. Kimberly
Okay.
has to. Sorry,
Oh,
I'll send a message to Margaret though.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'll just wrap this up. So to sort of wrap everything up, I know I've thrown a lot at you. I've gone through it rather fast just because we didn't have a lot of time together. It's also very hard in a virtual environment because I can't really ask questions and I can't see your facial reactions and really understand kind of what topics and what areas you need more clarity on. And the strategic planning process can be daunting. As simple as we try to make it, there's still a lot to it. So I just want to take a moment and let you know about Venture a little bit more. So the way we've developed this is that we understand that every business and entrepreneur have 2 choices. You can do it alone, you can figure it out your strategic plan, you can build out your own resources by yourself, or you can do it together. You can work with us, you can learn from our 20+ years of experience and have a connected community of entrepreneurs behind you. And as I indicated at the beginning, that's sort of where my passion is, and that's why I've built this program. It's to bring entrepreneurs together so that together you can do your own strategic planning on your own, but within the support and within a safe environment that allows you to get the coaching and the answers to your questions and really feel like you're not alone. Because entrepreneurship, running a business is a lonely journey. There's a reason why not everybody runs their own company. It's can be very lonely as an entrepreneur, and sometimes being connected to other like-minded entrepreneurs and being part of something bigger can help propel you forward as you move forward with your own journey. So for now, I've created a enroll by September 30th and you can access our program. It runs for $997. You can get it for $797. And I've also added in an additional $200 value, so private coaching, so you can book a 1-hour coaching. And I do think that at the end of this, there will be a winner for a 1-hour private coaching with me to begin with. So that's a great bonus, but anybody that signs up through this Investor Series program can also get an additional hour should they wish. So there's lots of great information out there. Of course, I have a money back guarantee, so you can feel like you can do it at no risk. And if you are interested, there's a QR code there. You can link to that and you can sign up for the $797 value. And we can kind of continue working on your journey. If you're not ready, I totally understand. That's a strong, a big financial commitment, and not everybody's ready to put the time and energy and the resources into building up their plan. I encourage you to sign up for our newsletter. So there's a QR code to that, or the URL. Just sign up for our newsletter, stay connected, follow us on social. I'm doing my best to continue putting out some inspirational information every week in a Sunday letter, and then also through our social media, so that you can get more tips and resources at no cost, just to help keep you going and not feeling like you are doing it alone. And I just want to say thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to share with you, and I wish you all the very best in your business. Thank you for giving me your time today. So I'll pass it back over to Kimberly or Jen.
Thanks so much, Karen. We really appreciate it. Maybe we could just open up the floor to questions. I will start. There is one in the chat from Michael that asks, how do you advise a tech entrepreneur not in the GTA to retain young talent? Keeps getting drawn to the GTA. Any suggestions on that?
How do you advise a tech entrepreneur not in the GTA to retain young talent who, so trying to keep our local talent here? Yeah, that's that's an ongoing challenge. I mean, at the end of the day, there's people that want to leave if they've grown up in Northern Ontario, in North Bay, wherever they are. And a lot of people are drawn to the GTA because they need a new experience. They need a new life. You can't keep them here because they feel like maybe there's more for them in the GTA. So I don't know if it's so much about trying to convince them to stay here. It's looking for those that want to stay here, that want the lifestyle. Maybe they're expats, maybe they're people that have moved away but would love to move back because they recognize how great Northern Ontario is. Or maybe that thing you start changing messaging around and creating the same kind of culture and the same kind of environment that would give them the same value of being in the GTA, except for the fact that it's a larger city. And I mean, and that's what I'm trying to say. A lot of people will gravitate to the GTA or to a larger urban center because they feel that they need more than what Northern Ontario can offer. Those people, let them go, because that's what they need. But focus on the people that want the same, maybe with the way that the tech companies operate in the GTA. Start modeling some of those environments, whether it be flex work schedules, whether that be 4-day work weeks, whether that be great office environments with, the Google way of work, whatever it is that you can do at a smaller scale to still give them that experience that they might get in the GTA, but focus in on those that actually want to live here, because you're not going to convince people that they should stay if they're being drawn to a new experience, because they might need that from a different holistic way.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything they would like to ask Karen or pick her brain on while we've got her here? I have a quick one. On your point one about what is driving our decisions, for some not-for-profits and organizations, often they're laid out in agreements we have with funders. So there's sometimes a conflict between what maybe it could be a provincial priority or a federal priority is, but what we're seeing in our community. And so I find sometimes that what's driving our decision is conflicting, because what our funders are looking for, or the folks who we have agreements with, might be different than what our clients or community members want. So I'm struggling when we do a strategic plan to put that on paper, sort of, or to reflect that. Any kind of thoughts about that?
And I understand that, that often you're kind of stuck in a box, especially if you're part of an organization that's funded by a government body. One of the things you could be looking at is kind of thinking about the SWOT analysis and the opportunities grid, and thinking about what other partnerships or alliances you can create to still create those opportunities for your clients. Perhaps there's some additional pots of funding you could tap into that would solve those problems or allow you to drive that mission forward based on what you think your clients need, but that don't impact your day-to-day core, or maybe you're just sort of that silent partner in the background, bringing the partners together to create that opportunity, but not necessarily leading it and driving it because it's outside of your mandate or your scope. That's probably one of the ways that I would look to do it. And then as a not-for-profit organization, I would certainly want to look for revenue generators so that you can tie in some revenue generation back to your organization. So there's some sort of an admin or a project management fee or something that you can have to kind of pull it all together, but that doesn't take you outside of your day-to-day mandate and scope.
Awesome, thank you. There's another question in the chat. At what point of your business development should you implement a strategic plan?
I would say right away. I think that if you can get out of the gate and start, because as soon as you start your business day one, you need to know where you're going by year 2, year 3, year 4. You want to have kind of that trajectory that you can follow. Because if you don't know what you're aiming for, how are you going to know what business decisions you should make? How are you going to know what events you should show up and network at, or what new businesses you should, or new clients you should go after? How will you know what partnerships align with where you're trying to get to? So you need that strategy right away, so that you can kind of map and chart out your course.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Anybody else have anything? Okay, well, I just want to say thank you, Karen, so much. This has been wonderful and insightful. And thank you to everybody for participating in the Investor Ready program. We have 5 more sessions that are happening, so please visit the Eventbrite page to see what the other sessions are if you haven't signed up. And it's the same Zoom link for all of them, so it's nice and easy if you've already got it. So thank you, merci, and miigwech. Have a great day, everybody.